There we go. There we go. Thank you for your patience. Welcome to everybody here on the live call, and welcome to those of you who are joining us streaming on Facebook. Today, this is one of our Monday afternoon regular speed teachings. These are high level, high vibrational spiritual teachings for ascending masters. If you're new to the group, The Sovereign Way, welcome. We specialize in teaching the metaphysical dynamics of accelerating your ascension. In other words, allowing the natural enlightenment process to unfold for you in such a way that you can live your truest, fullest, most abundant life while constantly by default improving in your presence and your magnetism. My name is Elizabeth Wilson. I am an ontologist, which means I'm an expert in the process of becoming. Not only that, but I'm also the head teacher at Sovereign Masters, and I'm joined by an incredible team of spiritual teachers and coaches as well. So for today, I've prepared a gorgeous little mini teaching on how to enhance your magnetism. Why is this important? Well, you've worked really, really hard on your branding and your style, and you do this because you want your visual assets to match the message that you want to send vibrationally out into the world. Or perhaps you're calling for a lover, or perhaps you're calling for a friend. Perhaps you're perfecting your online dating profile, or you're practicing your elevator pitch, or you're preparing to go out into the world on a new mission or a new way of channeling your devotion. Perhaps you're an energy practitioner. Perhaps you're actively working on elevating the vibration of the world. Perhaps you're a healer. Perhaps you're seeking to impact in a very visceral and supernatural way the quality of life of those you serve. But did you know that your actual vibrational stamp reaches your audience, reaches your intended target market long before your cleverly designed business cards? In fact, your vibrational ripple moves through all of your cleverly designed business cards and your website and your online dating profile and the way that you introduce yourself at the grocery store to a potential client, and either magnetizes the best, most opulent results out of the quantum field, or it magnetizes some sort of distortion. So today's presentation is going to give you 3 surprising ways to enhance your magnetism. Ah, lovely, lovely, lovely. Can't wait to get going. Just get on with it, they said. Never neglect the water. So, unwrapping the concept of magnetism. Now, I'm not talking about your ability to attract the perfect client like. I'm not talking about other sorts of superficial 3D things like your red Ferrari or whatever it is you put on your vision board. Those things come naturally as a consequence of true sovereign being. Look at Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and then all of these things shall be added to you. Now, the kingdom of heaven is that domain in which you are sovereign within your circumstance, within your relationships, within your body, within your vibration and mind. Yes? Now, in sovereign mind, your presence and your awareness transcend all the different compartments of your identity. The I am this and the I am that. And it unifies your consciousness. And consciousness is what has magnetic weight. Yes, not ritual. It doesn't matter exactly what strings you pull or what buttons you push when you're doing your energy work or you're out there networking in the world. It doesn't have much to do with your ritual. It has everything to do with your consciousness. Now, did you know that the words mesmerizing and animal magnetism come from the same source? They do. Animal magnetism, which is also known as mesmerism, was the name that was given by the German doctor Franz Mesmer in the 18th century to what he believed was an invisible natural life force, or what he called Lebensmagnetismus. And that directly translates as life magnetism. And it's possessed by all living things, including humans and animals and pets and plants and you. And he believed that that force could have physical effects. It could actually impart or invoke real, visceral, energetic results in the place where it's directed, including healing. And he spent his life persistently, but without success, to achieve scientific recognition of his ideas. It became known as the vitalist theory, vital, vitality, life, the theory of life. And it attracted lots and lots of followers in Europe and the United States. And it was popular until the 19th century, well into the 19th century, actually. It was a really important specialty in medicine, in mainstream medicine, for about 75 years, from its beginnings in 1779, all the way up until about 1925. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books written about this phenomenon. But now it's morphed into other forms of energy work, like Qigong and Reiki, like laying on of hands, or like body talk. These powerful modalities for initiating, activating, and nurturing that life force spirit that is within you, that makes you different from a zombie. Now, it's well known that, I should say it's well known among energy practitioners that the impact of your prayer work or your manifesting work or your healing work is directly related to where your consciousness logs on the Hawkins scale. And I'll show you that in a moment. And this is because it is consciousness that has magnetic weight, not the ritual of the doing. So the more enhanced your magnetism is, the more you draw out the equivalent life force in the quantum fabric. So if you're doing manifestation work, the more enhanced your magnetism is, the purer the quality of what you draw out of the soup, of the field of potentiality. Or if you're doing healing work on another body, the more enhanced your consciousness is, the more you pull out higher quality life force out of the one that you're working on. And many will say that it is impossible for you to positively impact another beyond your own log of consciousness. And others would say, well, that may be true, but grace still transcends these things, which means that your ability to allow and receive and transmit that grace speaks to your ability to transcend your own log of consciousness when it comes to the results that you're trying to invoke. Do you understand that? It's a little complex. I'll go over it a little bit in just a moment. So in other words, what I'm saying is that the thing that your magnetism is made of is embedded in your life force energy. It's your natural juice, your Lebensmagnetismus. And the strength of this magnetism depends on three things. Number one, how much life force is currently embodied. That's your chi, your prana, your spirit. It's what makes you magic. How much of this is currently embodied in your cellular consciousness? And how unified is this life force? That's number two. How unified is this consciousness? How integrated is it? How much do you believe that your divinity and your humanity are one and the same? And number three, how surrendered are you in allowing it to pour forth? That's tricky. How much of it do you allow? Let's look at those in turn. First, I'm going to show you the world famous sovereign model of human consciousness. World famous. It's known in about 5 countries. It counts as the world in my book. In the unified field, everybody knows the sovereign model of human consciousness. Let's look at it quickly together, though. There is one source and one substance and one supply of all spiritual essence, of all matter, of everything that exists between heaven and earth comes from one place. Maybe it's a huge, giant, big, sexy bang, or perhaps it's a singularity beyond consciousness. It's a mystery, but there it is nonetheless. I'll call it God. And we know that if this is all essence, all knowing, then a very specific part of that is drawn out as one individuated strand, and that's what you are. And your consciousness is refracts this life force, much like the same way a prism refracts sunlight, because it turns total creative potentiality into very specific value. It does that through your subconscious paradigms, through the rules and the data that you've logged in your cellular consciousness, in your genetics. All of these subconscious rules, like I'm only worthy if I accomplish X, Y, and Z, or I better not move my body the way it wants to be moved when I'm in the supermarket in case someone looks at me funny, or whatever else these rules might be that prevent a complete surrendered flow of life force through your cellular consciousness, through your energy field, and out into manifest form. Now, this is very helpful if you're an energy practitioner to understand this relationship, because it helps you to unwrap the energetic links between what's in consciousness, what's in your energy field, which is here, and what is in your form, which is your 3D to 5D life. Right? This is what you are manifesting. This is what you're prehending and therefore experiencing. So where is life force coming from? From God, of course, from the source. Do you still have a problem with God? With a name, with the word God? That's okay. But at some point you have to just choose to grow out of that. It's easier than saying universal mother, father, God, source of all eternal cosmic creation. You can save a lot of time by getting over your childhood traumas with that particular label. So life force comes from this source. And what obstructs life force? Quantum judgment, also known in the sovereign language as paradigms. They're like little bits of debris that clog up and form like a dam in your consciousness, in your subconscious mind, preventing that inrush of spiritual life force energy. That's the stuff that animal magnetism is made of. Yes? So there are all kinds of things in your subconscious, like, for example, spiritual people must be like this. Or perhaps financial facts are like this. And then, of course, the great one that we're all trying to transcend, I'm not worthy of being seen. And a million others. You know, part of your work is to identify these, just to draw a light over them and to dissolve them by the nature of your awareness, by alchemy. You don't need to delve into months and months of shadow work to get this done, not at all. It can be really, really quick. The solution is the 3 steps in the I Am Truth program by Sovereign Masters, tended to mindfully and lovingly and diligently. Notice these obstructions, remove these obstructions, and the life force increases. You embody more of them, delete these, and there is more space for truth. There's more space for grace. That's where your magnetism resides. So if this is what Franz Mesmer called the invisible liquid of life, the less debris you have clogging up the subconscious, the more of this invisible liquid of life you embody. Call it what you will. Got it? Yes. Number 1, how much life force you embody. Number 2, the second factor in your magnetism is how unified this life force is. If you lead a compartmentalized life where you have your work and your service over here, and you have your finances and your provision over here, and you have your marriage over there, you've got your hobbies and your artistry over here in this corner, then of course there's a dispersing effect as your life force is distributed to these different realms of consciousness. Get it? Like a shower head. You understand that? Good. So when you've done your integrative work, which is partly consciousness, partly energetic, and partly habitual form, both in manifest consequence like neuro pathways, and also in how strong and healthy and powerful your body is. When you've done the integrative work, then all your life force is brought into cohesion. You understand that? It's brought into cohesion with itself. And the most poignant effect of this, the most poignant effect of your radiance, is that you draw truth out of the quantum field by natural magnetic mechanism. You understand that? So regardless of the circumstance you're in, regardless of the one you are speaking to and where they log on any kind of scale of consciousness, the power of your cohesive radiance is that you draw truth out of the quantum. That shifts your vibrational reality. So you can be standing in a circumstance that just now included a horrible, dead, rotting rat, and now includes a majestic example of nature's ability to recycle matter. Do you get that? You're drawing truth out of the quantum field, but also you're drawing truth out of the one that you are dealing with. You are actually magnetizing their log of consciousness from where they are, at least to where you are. The power of this is beyond words. You can save souls by the nature of your presence. This is a lot bigger than magnetizing that red Ferrari. They are not only touched by God in your presence, they become more of God in your presence. Wow. Here's a parallel from physics. When you shine a flashlight, the photons are erratic, they move erratically and independently from one another, and they disperse really quickly. So the photons illuminate. Your consciousness, your shine, can illuminate, even if it is erratic, even if you're not well integrated, even if you live compartmentalized. You dial up your shine, you will illuminate more. But when 1% of those photons are brought into cohesion with one another, which means that they're traveling in the same direction, they're traveling together, then that affects all the other photons, which also change their behavior, and they fall into cohesion. So the effect then is what we call a laser. A laser not only illuminates, it very specifically targets through intention and has the power to permanently engrave an effect on the thing that it is targeting. You see the difference? Yes? Good. In one scenario, you can live compartmentalized and unintegrated. You can dial up your radiance, you can do your inner work, and you can shine bright, and you will illuminate those who are sitting in the shadowlands. But in another scenario, you bring your spiritual power into cohesion with itself, and you live a truly embodied presence, regardless of circumstance. And you will find that your level of consciousness has more of a magnetic ability to permanently shift the thing, the circumstance, the person, the one that you are intentionally targeting. The results are immeasurable. The consequence of this is enormous, both in how you conduct your business, in how you do your healing work, in how you express and present yourself, in how wildly you love and are loved in return, and how surrendered you are in your ability to appreciate natural magic and beauty all around you. There's a really famous experiment on this cohesion effect in 1975. I'm sure you've heard of it if you're a spiritual practitioner or an ascending master. And thousands of experiments since then have confirmed it, that when 1% of the population of any city or community practice transcendental meditation, the crime rates drop by 16%. Not because of the people meditating, but because they're doing it. That's a demonstration of the effect of magnetism on consciousness. That's called the Maharishi effect. Because if 1% of the population can bring themselves into cohesion in consciousness, then by magnetism, it draws all others within that circuitry, within that circle, into cohesion also. So this is what you want to accomplish in your own inner universe, to bring enough cohesion in your spiritual presence between the compartments of your life that all other compartments fall in line, that there is a magnifying effect. Now, I'm sure that you can transpose this into what you know of the law of attraction. Yes? The law of attraction says that anything of an energetic attractive field will draw unto itself similar attractive fields. And then you have a compound effect of magnetism. So if you can accomplish this in your own inner work, it makes your spiritual progress very, very easy. It's not difficult to accomplish at all. It's a process. And it's the same process as your ascension. Look here on the Hawkins scale. It's the Hawkins scale developed over a number of years by Dr. David Hawkins and his team. And they used applied kinesiology to measure and calibrate the level of truth in all kinds of things, from people to geographies to ideologies to all kinds of stuff like that. And they're able to reveal that we can sort of measure how a human being's overall log of consciousness lands on this scale, where 0 is complete separation or the illusion of separation. There's no point to anything. And at the tippity top, at 1000, we have what we call Christ, the Christ consciousness, complete embodied knowing and remembering of your divinity, of your spark. And what they found was that, actually, before I say that, I'm going to show you that your process, most people log between 200 and 300. Around 400 to 500 is the zone of genius. Here we have the mainstream down here. Mainstream, around 200 to 300. 400 to 500 is the realm of genius. 500 to 600 is the realm of the mystics. Teresa of Avila, Mother Teresa, Saint Francis, etc. And then 700 and up, we have the realms of the avatars, the Buddha, the Krishna, the Yogananda, the Alan Watts, the Eckhart Tolle, and potentially you as well. Now, an ascending master is somebody who's chosen a path of expanding their consciousness. They've chosen a path of moving up this scale. Of course, we know it's not a linear process. We understand that. We understand there's all kinds of ups and downs. But the upward effect is what we call ascension. And we also understand, of course, that at any given time, we can be triggered downwardly, and that's what we call spiritual entropy. So if you're an ascending master, which I think you are if you're in this group, it means that you've chosen a life path that means that you are steadily embodying more truth and more love, and that you are practicing mastery techniques specifically for the purpose of ascending in your consciousness. And what Hawkins found, oh, and by the way, before I move on to that, the place where you log on this scale, whether you're here with the geniuses or here with the mystics or here with the avatars, this is directly correlated to your magnetism, because this has everything to do with how much love and how much truth you embody at any given time. So if you're wanting to improve or enhance your influence or your impact or the legacy that you leave, then by ascending on this scale, your magnetism grows and the impact of your work corresponds. Do you understand that? So in other words, you can be an energy worker who logs fairly low on the scale, but who nonetheless does wonderful work for elevating the consciousness of the planet. But if you want to have a really, really powerful effect, then what you'll do is you'll enhance your consciousness and your magnetism will follow. Yes. So that means that enhancing your magnetism is as simple as ascending in consciousness, because they correlate. They're the same. Now, Hawkins and his team found that energy fields, including attractor fields, are impersonal, right? We're not surprised by that. They influence all living things in the same way. Loving thoughts are life-promoting and ascending, and negative thoughts are life-impairing and entropic. And the energy field of enlightened teachers elevates the energy level of all of those who are around them. That's why groups are really important. That's why the synergy of joining membership groups such as the Oasis has such a profound effect on the student body. Now, look at Mother Teresa. That's the magnetism, right? Mother Teresa, everyone who came in contact with Mother Teresa was impacted by her energy. They were changed by her, not just inspired. Oh, that was a great talk. I really enjoyed the things she said about loving people. Not just inspired like that, but changed. That's her magnetism. And Jesus, who was wholly integrated and remembered, he was so magnetic that people were healed in his presence. And his ministry lasted only 3 years, but his legacy remains to this day. That's a weight in the fabric of quantum. So the more embodied and integrated you become, the heavier your weight of consciousness, the heavier the weight of your presence. If you can get 1% of your being to integrate, then a pattern of enlightenment will emerge and the rest will come into cohesion. And the only thing in the way of a smooth and graceful process is your resistance to releasing these barriers between the compartments of your soul. If you do this work, you will see your magnetism enhance. And that's what we're here for. That's why we're here, to help facilitate that work for you. Now, if you're a member of the Oasis Inner Circle, then you can visit the immersion video on magnetism for a deep dive in the metaphysical mechanics that you need to master to get good at this. So for those of you on the call who are part of the Inner Circle, you can go back into the library and check that out if you want to get into the excellent nitty-gritty energetics and metaphysical mechanics. So to recap, number one, well, to recap, 3 surprising ways to enhance your magnetism. Number one, how much life force is currently embodied in you. Understand that and dial it up. Yes, embody more life force. Number 2, how unified is this life force in you? How cohesive is it? How much of it is pointing in the same direction? In other words, not torn between ideas or missions or life goals, but focused. Find out, do the integrative work, and you'll notice that you become from being a sprinkler to being a laser. And finally, I haven't covered this one yet. Number 3, how surrendered are you in allowing it to pour forth? How willing are you to be seen? To actually have an impact on the world? It's all well and good talking the talk, but what if you actually succeed? Are you willing to try? Guys, it is time to be splendid, utterly, utterly gorgeous, utterly magnetic. The world needs hope now more than ever before. The world needs to be reminded that love is real and that it does always work out in the end. And that's what we give them with our splendor. That's what we give them with our radiance and with our magnetism. Your radiant magnetism is an expression of the divine, you see. And it's not just an outpouring, it's an entanglement, because it pours out from you, but it also calls it out from the other. It brings excellence to your handiwork. It brings brilliance to your smile, tenderness to your service, healing to your touch, and magic to your cooking. And there are many, many reasons why you try to restrict it. And these are personal points of consciousness that you need to transcend in your own inner work as you go along in your ascension. My darling, let me tell you, with those feathers of yours, there is no longer any reason to be afraid of being seen, to be afraid of pouring that spiritual life force through your eyes, through your smile, and through every thought and word and deed, so that you truly can weave the word of God through everything that you endeavor. You deserve to be seen. And frankly, the world needs to see you. I'm going to finish off. Oh, it's 2:33. I'm going to finish off with this lovely, lovely quote. It's one of my favorites from John O'Donoghue, excellent Irish poet and mystic, sadly passed on, but well, not sadly, I think he knew exactly what he was doing. But these are his words on beauty. And to me, beauty, true beauty, is magnetic. True beauty, like a flame to a flame, ignites and activates beauty in its own right. And that's what magnetism is fundamentally by its nature. This is what he says. Beauty isn't all about just nice loveliness like. Beauty is about more rounded, substantial becoming. So I think beauty in that sense, he says, is about an emerging fullness, a greater sense of grace and elegance, a deeper sense of depth, and also a kind of homecoming for the enriched memory of your unfolding life. Lovely. Now, this week in the Oasis, we're going to really get to understand the purpose of our magnetism, and we're going to dive into a couple of stories from scripture to see why we've been bestowed this supernatural ability to invoke the divine in another through our magnetism. And we're going to use a specific protocol of energy work and prayer to embody, integrate, and allow a natural enhancement of your spiritual power. I'm really excited to welcome our new members, Joyce and Alan, this week. And we have a renewed commitment from Joni and Sarah, who are graduating into our inner circle. And big, big news, we have a new teacher joining the team. That is Maria Christina, the Anointed Rebel. She joins us to support students in practicing thought assignments and energy protocols. So big, big results are happening on the inside, guys. And we really hope that you'll join us. Reach out to Matt, he's the outreach guy, and he'll get you cracking. Thank you so much for joining us here on the live call and here and on the live stream in Facebook. I'm going to end the live stream and take questions from the live calls. Thank you so much for being here. Mwah, love you all. Be magnetic.